Hello, my lovely rose garden. I'm Avalon,
And I'm Ray.
and we're back with more Throne of Ass.
Mm.
Woo! We haven't recorded in a while because we've been on vacation, which means we've been staying home because we are depressed introverts. Ah,
I mean, we went to a Ren fair.
we did do that, and it was great, and it made me hate this book more.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at least at the Ren Fair, they're very open about being anachronistic. Like, they revel in it. They're like, yeah, we know this is not period accurate. Like,
Yeah.
they have a couple, little booths and things where they're like, oh, yeah, this is an actual period accurate, like, map of the settlements that were in this area at the time.
And then this is the fantasy one that we made for fun.
Yeah. And then there's a dragon. And you watch the knights do their jousting and the MC makes jokes about hair products. Like, screw it. Fuck it, we ball.
Mm.
So, see, again, not to belabor the point, especially not before we've started reading, but I feel like if Throne of Glass was just having a little more fun with it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't care as much. Like, if it was just being tongue in cheek of, like, what time period is this? Who knows? Like how the freaking series of unfortunate events
Yeah.
where it's like you think it's like Victorian times or something, and then Olaf pulls out a computer. Like,
Yeah, like I would not be shook if one of the Baudelaire children like pulled out one of their iPads while Count Orloff was just talking shit. Like
they're just like, yeah, anyway, texting on their Nokias. Like,
like you know
and it catches you off guard every single fucking time.
and then it's hilarious.
And I think that was something that the Netflix series did really well, especially with Neil Patrick Harris's
Mm.
delivery of that line where he's like, "Oh, we'll just order takeout." Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, wait, what a minute.
There's takeout.
So again, it's not that anachronism on its own is bad. It's that Throne of Glass is doing it badly.
The Throne of Glass is doing it badly and also not like winking to the audience a little bit about it. It just comes off as like Sarah J. Maas put this in a vaguely Victorian-esque setting that she barely did any of the research. Once again, it comes back to you got to know the rules to break them.
Yeah, like I feel like, and it was 2012 when this book was published. I'm pretty sure Pinterest was a thing then.
Yeah.
I would have been in college, so I think
Yeah,
Pinterest
I think
existed.
Pinterest was a thing.
I'm like, I feel like you didn't even make like a Pinterest mood board. At least make a Pinterest mood board. Anyway, that's my little petty gripe for now. It's a short chapter, so we need to pad out the episode.
I'm sure there will be more petty gripes ahead. Not simply because of padding, but simply because this book sucks.
Yeah. Alright, here we go. Chapter 41.
Yep. Let's
The
go.
clock chimed 10. Boo, not midnight.
Boo.
And Alyssacles, seated at the small desk in her bedroom, looked up from her book. She should be sleeping, or at least trying to. Fleetfoot, get my boy's name out your mouth, dozing in her lap, yawned widely. Alyssacles scratched her behind the ears and ran a hand along the page of the book. Word marks stared up at her, their intricate curves and angles speaking a language she couldn't yet decipher. How long had it taken Nehemia to learn them? And, she wondered darkly, how could their power possibly still work when magic itself was gone? I mean, I guess
Girl.
that's your first clue that magic itself isn't gone.
Yeah. Clearly there's some fucking shit going on. And magic is in fact not gone.
She hadn't seen Nehemia since the ball last night, hadn't dared to approach her or tell Kaol what she'd learned. Nehemia had been deceitful about her language skills and how much she knew about the word marks, but she could have any number of reasons for that. Alyssacles had been wrong to go to the ball last night, wrong to believe Nehemia was capable of such bad things. Nehemia was one of the good ones. Oh, that carries a lot of implication given that Nehemia is also the only confirmed character of color in the book.
Girl, you can't be saying that about people.
Like, I understand from context that this means she's one of the good nobles. Like,
Yeah,
but just
but
the way
still,
that is worded,
girl, you can't be saying that about people.
like, oh, that does not look good. That is, ooh, I don't like reading that.
Psychic damage.
She wouldn't target Elisicles, not when they'd been friends. They had been friends. Elisicles swallowed the tightness in her throat and turned the page. Her heart stopped. There, looking up at her, were the symbols she'd seen near the bodies, and in the margin, written by someone centuries ago, was the explanation. See, I don't want to say how convenient,
Yeah.
because it has taken us many, many pages to get to anything concrete, but also the fact that, oh, we're, less than 100 pages from the end, and now it's just,
Oh, she suddenly
here's
found it
the
after reading one book. It's like,
it's like, oh, look, all the information is conveniently in this one spot.
yeah, like it's the fact that it took her this long if the answer was going to be this easy.
Yeah, like, if,
Like for how much she supposedly reads.
yeah, it's just, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. If you want the plot of this book to be about this magical murder mystery, and you want the character to focus on researching this supposedly extinct form of magic, then make that the focus.
Yeah.
Have her be getting bits and pieces of information throughout all these books, and she knows they're connected somehow, but just can't figure out quite how they fit together, and then boom, she gets this cornerstone piece of information in this one book that makes everything click together, and now she can see the fuller picture for what it is. Instead of just, oh, here's the marks you were looking for, and here's a paragraph of text someone wrote centuries ago, but somehow you can still understand what they're talking about. Can you understand the English of someone from centuries ago?
Probably not.
No.
Like, I'm just over here like, so with how much magic has supposedly been like extinguished and like all the information about it and like the word marks have been like people don't know what they are and they're just carved around the castle, kind of bullshit that this book has just been in the palace library and not burned.
Yeah, like,
Like
famously, despotic regimes tend to just burn everything and not hang on to things that, well, we do want to preserve the history.
yeah. They don't really have much interest in preserving the history.
Kind of antithetical to their
Yeah.
whole rule.
Yeah. Like the only history they're intent on preserving is anything that backs up their crazy narrative. So it's like, you know, they're very picky about what they let through the little cracks.
Yeah,
so
you
it's
know.
like
When they burned the Library of Alexandria, it wasn't just the porn, you see.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
We lost hundreds, if not thousands of years worth of information and plunged Western civilization into the Dark Ages because that knowledge was lost forever. There are still things that were done in the ancient world that we just straight up don't know how they did it because we lost the knowledge that they had passed down.
Yeah.
Like Damascus steel.
Yeah.
How did they fucking make it? We don't know. I mean, unless new research has come out on that, I could be ignorant here, but
I think Grecian fire was another one.
yeah, Grecian fire, like how certain aqueducts worked.
Yeah.
The fucking building the pyramids. Spoilers, it was not aliens.
Aliens. Aliens mating with our human women.
Why are they always mating with the human women? How come the men are never... Like, you know the men are sticking there. Bullshit.
Maybe it's because the women were the ones brave enough to be all like, I can get it. Let's go.
That is true. I do see mostly women among the monster fucker population, but
they're just like, hey, let's get freaky with it.
But also, I saw those Area 51 memes.
Yes.
So, like, I feel like there's an equal opportunity.
Let me see them aliens.
Anywho, let's see what bullshit was written here.
Let's be real. Straight men have had a long time to catch up to the freaky alien fuckers of ancient Egypt.
Yeah. All right. For sacrifices to the Ritterak.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that. The Ritterak.
The
Knick-knack paddywhack.
The what a hoota?
The knick-knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone.
Whoa. Anyway.
Using the victim's blood, mark the area around it accordingly. Once the creature has been summoned, these marks will guide the exchange. For the flesh of the sacrifice, the beast will grant you the victim's strength.
Okay.
Elisicles fought to keep her hands from trembling as she flipped through the pages, searching for anything about the marks under her bed. When the book yielded nothing, she returned to the summoning spell. A Ritterak. Was that the name of the beast? What was it? Where had it been summoned from, if it wasn't the word gates?
The word gates.
She pressed the heels of her palms into her eyes. Someone was actually using the word marks to open a portal to summon the creature. No fucking shit.
Oh my god.
Had we not previously established that? Okay, there's just gonna be so much bullshit, I think, within this next paragraph. I just glanced. I'm gonna read it through, and then we can collectively combust. Also, hi Winnie, you enjoying the new rug?
Yeah.
Okay, good girl. It was impossible because magic was gone, but the text said word marks existed outside of magic. What if their power still worked? But Nehemia, how could her friend do such a thing? Why did she need the champion's strength? And how could she keep everything hidden so well? Yet Nehemia could easily be a cunning actress, and maybe Elisicles had wanted a friend, wanted someone as different and outsiderly as she was. Maybe she'd been too willing, too desperate to see anything but what she wanted to see. Elisicles took a steadying breath. Nehemia loved Elwë, that was certainly true, and Elisicles knew there was nothing Nehemia wouldn't do to keep her country safe. Unless... Ice moved through Elisicles' veins. Unless Nehemia was here to start something bigger, unless she didn't want to make sure the king spared Elwë at all, unless she wanted what few dared whisper, rebellion. And not rebellion as it was now, with rebel groups hiding out in the wilderness, but rather rebellion in the sense of entire kingdoms rising up against Aderlin, as it should have been from the start. So are we on her side or not, Elisicles?
We want rebellion, but not like this.
We want rebellion, but we don't want people to die. I'm an assassin.
Also,
None of the people dying have exactly been, good people. Like, that's kind of why the reader's not really supposed to care that much.
I'm just over here like, so does she believe that Nehemia is the one doing this or not? It's literally, there's so much give and take. Like, her decision as to whether or not Nehemia is the one behind this is like, she flips a coin every paragraph to see if she still thinks that Nehemia is not, like, killing people or not.
And it truly feels like it's every other paragraph, because literally I have not yet turned the page, right? On this page 308, she feels so guilty for believing that Nehemia could possibly do this, and then on 309, with no further evidence of any kind that Nehemia is involved one way or the other, now Nehemia is behind it again. I still don't remember how she decided that she wasn't behind it before. So there truly is just no evidence.
I thought she was one of the good ones.
I wasn't gonna say it, because it's so fucking gross.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because the book already said it.
But yeah, even then, there was no evidence linking Nehemia to these murders in the first place, aside from the fact that she knows what word marks are.
Yeah.
Well, if the king of Aderlin...
And she was being... duplicitous with heavy quotations about how well she understood
Whatever language they speak.
their language. And I'm just over here like, it's almost as if,
She's doing better than you.
well, no, I'm just like, yeah, you're also being duplicitous, bitch. And also, it's almost like she's in a very, you know,
Precarious
position, given that she is what, the daughter of the king of her country, who is going to be steamrolled by this bigger, stronger country. And I'm just over here like, yeah, she would hold like everything she knows pretty close to the chest. Like,
That's just common sense, I fear.
That's just common sense.
And also, if the king of Adderley
and yeah, she met your ass like a month ago.
Yeah.
Like, she's not gonna tell you everything about her goddamn life.
And if the king of Adderlin's whole thing is getting rid of magic, then the people who want to rise against him will probably keep their knowledge of any form of magic, which is what word marks are.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this word marks exist outside of magic bullshit is. That came out of fucking nowhere.
That's just stupid.
That's
stupid and wrong.
That's a lie.
Literally everything about them is magic.
They're portals that can summon monsters. Tell me how it's not magic. I can't believe it's not magic. I legitimately can't. But yeah, if she knows anything about magic, she's not going to reveal that information in the country that's trying to get rid of magic.
Yeah.
Dumb
motherfucker.
All of this is just Alyssa Cleese being stupid and the world building not being thought out. And I'm going to say it again, and I'm never going to stop saying it. The immediate and unfounded suspicion of the only character of color in this fucking book really rankles me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot about how Nehemia is handled by the plot and the characters that rankles me, but, you know, I won't get into that.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
Now let's get back into this and...
Anyway, continue. Yeah, let's just go.
But why kill the champions? Why not target royals? Exactly. The ball would have been perfect for that. Why use word marks? She'd seen Nehemia's rooms. There were no signs of a demon beast lurking about, and nowhere in the castle where she could... I'm just gonna... Every time there's just like a cutoff with a M dash, I'm just gonna go... Alyssa Clee's eyes rose from the book. Blocked by the giant chest of drawers, the tapestry still rippled in a phantom breeze. There was nowhere in the castle to summon or hide a creature like that, except for the endless, forgotten chambers and tunnels running beneath it. Well, I'm glad they're doing something with that at least.
How long has it been since we've acknowledged these tunnels?
In a meaningful way. No, she said, standing so fast that it was all Fleetfoot could do to leap out of the way as her chair toppled over.
No!
No, it wasn't true, because it was Nehemia. Because... Alyssa Cleese grunted as she pushed the chest to the side and folded the tapestry back from the wall. Just as it had 2 months ago, a cold, damp breeze leaked through the cracks, but it smelled nothing of roses. I forgot that detail. All of the murders had occurred within 2 days of a test. Did we know that before?
No.
Did we have the specifics that they all occurred within 2 days of a test? That seems like a new detail that's being thrown at us for the first time.
Wasn't there like a point in which they were all like, oh yeah, a few tests passed, and like they didn't mention a goddamn thing about murders?
And then there's like one murder or something. Whatever. That meant tonight or tomorrow something would happen. The Ritterak. That's fucking stupid. Whatever.
Just say knick-knack paddywhack.
The knick-knack paddywhack. Whatever it was would strike again. And with the marks that she'd found painted under her bed, there was no way in hell she'd wait for it to show up. After shutting the whining Fleetfoot out of the bedroom, so you're just gonna leave your dog in there? Nice. Alyssa Cleese covered the passage entry with the tapestry, wedged a book in the doorway to keep it from getting locked in, and only once wished she had a weapon beyond the candlestick she carried and the makeshift knife in her pocket. Because if Nehemia had truly lied to her like that, and if Nehemia had been murdering the champions, then Elisicles had to see it herself, if only so she could kill her with her bare hands. And we're back to suspecting Nehemia, I guess. Anyway, time skip Tildy. Down and down she went, her breath thick in the frigid air. Water dripped somewhere, and Elisicles looked longingly at the middle archway as she approached the crossroads. There was no thought of escape now. What would be the point, when she was so close to winning? If she lost, she'd sneak back here before they had a chance to ship her off to Endovier again. Elisicles studied the left and right side passages. The one to her left only led to a dead end, but the one on the right, that was the passage she'd taken to Elena's tomb. There she'd seen countless other passageways leading to unknown places, and has never once come back down here to explore further.
For some reason, she just ignored the shit out of these passageways and was like, I'm not gonna pay attention.
Like, you seem to have a pretty decent amount of expendable time, because you've been doing a lot of reading and shit. Maybe you should have been exploring down here a little bit. God, very simple plot solution. Have the books about the word marks be down here.
Yeah.
Away from the Royal Palace Library. Like someone could have hidden them away down here to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. But alas.
What a stupidly obvious thing. I'm disappointed that I didn't bring it up sooner, let alone the fact that it's not canon. Jesus Christ. She stepped closer to the archway and froze when she saw the steps that descended into the murky darkness. The centuries-old dust had been disturbed. Footprints led up and down. You mean like your fucking footprints the last time you were here? Nehemia and her creature must have been, just fully blaming Nehemia now. Not even the pretense of innocent until proven guilty.
I'm like, okay, so wait a second. How many, can't she simply follow the footprints as to where they lead out into the castle?
I don't know. Nehemia and her creature must have been creeping around down here, just floors below everyone else. Hadn't Varen died just after he taunted her in front of Nehemia? Elisicles clutched her candlestick tighter and pulled her makeshift knife out of her pocket. Step after step, she began her descent down the stairwell. Soon she could no longer...
Bitch, why you going down? Why ain't you following the footprints to where it leads out into the castle? So you could have a more clear, idea of who has access to this room
Also, if it's just a pair of footprints and not animal tracks of some kind, wouldn't your natural assumption just be that those are your footprints from last time?
Yeah, but I mean, assumedly, if it is like, they're too big to be her footprints or whatever like that, wouldn't you just follow the footprints to see whose room they lead out to?
I mean, maybe she's following them down the stairs?
Yeah, but assumedly they'd have to lead out somewhere.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Are we really trying to ascribe any modicum of intelligence to Candy?
I want to believe that there's something in this world.
Soon she could no longer see the top landing, and the bottom never came any closer. But then whispers filled the corridor, slithering off the walls. She quieted her steps and shielded her candle as she neared. It wasn't the idle chat of servants, but someone speaking rapidly, almost chanting. Not Nehemia, a man. A man.
A man?
A landing approached below.
A man!
No, my worst nightmare.
A greenish light seeped out of it. God, I butchered that one. Let me try again. A greenish light seeped out of it onto the stones of the stairwell. A greenish light seeped onto the stones. Come on now.
Yeah.
Never mind. I didn't butcher it. That was badly done.
Yeah, that was just badly written.
Which continued on past the landing and into the darkness. The hair on her arms rose as the voice became clearer. It didn't speak any tongue that she recognized. It was guttural and harsh and grated against her ears, as if it sucked the very warmth from her bones. The man panted as he spoke, like the words burned his throat, and he finally gasped for air. Silence fell. Setting down her candle, Alyssa Cleese crept toward the landing and peered inside the room. The oaken door had been thrown open, a giant key turned in its rusting lock, and inside the small chamber, kneeling before the darkness so black that it seemed poised to devour the world, was Cain. Dun dun dun! Yeah, we
Dun,
fucking knew,
dun.
bitch. God. Yeah, if you sacrifice your enemies to this thing, you gain their strength. Cain sure looks like he's getting beefier and beefier all the time. How did we not make that connection? Like, even
His
if
name
I
is
didn't...
literally Cain.
Even if I didn't know from previous readings that it was Cain, the moment that came up, I
Yeah.
would have pretty immediately put two and two together. And again, this is not to be like, oh, I am an adult and teenage girls could never. I mean, no, teenage girls absolutely could, and I hate that you are belittling their intelligence by assuming they couldn't.
As a
As an author.
as a 6th grader, I would have been able to be all like, that character's named Cain. He's probably going to be evil.
And for more reasons than just being a misogynist.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, anywho, these next several chapters are going to be very short. So that's it. That's the big reveal, and then that's where the chapter stops.
Big reveal, and no one fucking is surprised.
No one is. The only thing I'm surprised by is like all of these very sudden world building details that are just getting thrown at us. Like, oh, it's always within 2 days of a test, and oh, word marks aren't magic actually. Like, what the fuck does that mean, Goofy?
What the fuck does that even mean, Goofy?
So yeah, it's feeling pretty rushed because I'm just like flipping the pages, and the next, we're on chapter 42 of 55, and there's less than 100 pages to go.
Mm-hmm.
So each page is going to be, each chapter is going to be pretty short, and that really just kind of
Rankles me a bit.
yeah, the word rankles has like reemerged in my vocabulary, but there is some utility in making the chapters shorter when you're getting to like the high stakes action scene, having the climax chapters be a little shorter to kind of quicken the pace. But the pace of this book has been so abysmally slow that it feels like we've just been crawling out of the gate, and now we're like going 100 miles an hour into a brick wall.
Sarah J. Maas has unfortunately fallen into the trap of focusing more on the plots that she clearly likes more, as opposed to the plot of the entire story. Like, she focused so much on the romance subplots that, like, she's neglected the main reason for the character actually being here.
In every sense.
In every sense.
In the tournament, the mystery,
like, and at least it's gonna hurt, but I'm gonna praise A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Oh my god.
At least she went into that series wholly focusing on the romance because that's what she wants to write.
Yeah, I'll give her that much.
Like, it's a romance story. She didn't put in this fucking tournament. She didn't put in a mystery to get people who are invested in, like, tournament arcs and mysteries, pulled in, only to be horrendously, let down by the fact that it gets abandoned for the whole middle part of the book and then, like, hastily scrapped together at the end.
It was about fucking fairies with big dicks.
Yeah, and you know what?
And that's what happens.
Like, hey, if you like reading about fucking fairies with big dicks, then, and
go
have
for it.
a very low, like, threshold of what counts as good literature, go for it. That's why I say, like, you know what? There are people who like Sarah J. Maas's books. There are people who like A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm like, you know what? I don't agree, but have your fun.
Good for you.
I'm just very, very picky about my literature. Like, I have, everything has to kind of have kind of an equal focus, or otherwise I'm just all like, well, this plot point is superfluous, and why is it even here?
I feel like this is also why a lot of shonen anime doesn't work for you.
Yeah. Like we were actually talking about this earlier, and it's all like, I was listening to a sum up of the Soul Eater manga, and I'm just over here like near to the end, I'm just all like, okay, but what does this have to do with the main character's like goals? What does this have to do with their shit? Why are we going off on this side tangent of nonsense? And inevitably with a lot of shonen manga, I feel is that the characters, all of the different disparate goals and driving forces of different characters all get kind of steamrolled into, we have to punch God with the power of friendship, and then that is usually how it ends. So
Either that,
yeah.
or there are so many characters with so many different goals that they are ostensibly the main characters of different series.
And like, that's fine. I enjoy when they're, the main cast all has different goals and are interested in different things and don't necessarily like line up every single time, because that's just how people work. But it's when all of that gets like flattened and like mushed together and then homogenized that I'm just all like, okay, so these are just entirely different characters, and I'm not reading the story I wanted to read in the beginning anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that does kind of happen a lot with, and this might be why I don't read a lot of series anymore, is because the series will start with a premise, and I really, really like that premise.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I want to read about. And then time goes on, and the story is no longer about that. Like, again, bringing up other Sarah J. Maas works, the way that Tamlin... Could you imagine being a Tamlin stan, reading the first book, and then you get to the second one, and he's, like, so villainized, but not even with examples like that where it's a complete 180. I'm talking about shit like fucking... I'm gonna get so much shit for this one. Castle Swimmer. I really
don't know what that is.
I'm gonna have to explain. Yeah. It's a webtoon. It's a very popular webtoon. Bailey has plushes of it.
Ah, okay.
The mermaid one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I really, really dug the initial concept of the Shark Prince, and I guess Kappa's a goldfish. I don't fucking know, but like, he's the one that's there to like fulfill prophecies and shit. And the shark prophecy says that Siren, the Shark Prince guy, is supposed to kill him so that the sharks can be freed from their curse. Except he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And they're like falling in love the whole time.
Oh.
And, there's like this big climax. And it's spoilers for Castle Swimmer season 1. It's revealed that the Queen of the Sharks lied about the prophecy because she didn't want her son to die. The prophecy is actually that Kappa, the beacon, the goldfish, fucking Sora mermaid, is gonna kill... It's Soriku to me. It's just, it's Soriku to me, but...
this to me is Soriku.
This is Soriku coded. Anyway, the big twist is that she lied about the prophecy because the real prophecy is that Siren's the one who's supposed to die. Yeah. But she wanted to save her son's life, so she lied about it. Okay. And would rather, doom the sharks forever to not fulfilling this prophecy than
lose her son. Which, like,
understandable.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
And it's a really complicated situation, and, there's a lot of feelings about it from the rest of the people who are like, well, shit, we don't want our prince to die either because everyone legitimately likes him. And they've always, like, seen him as kind of a beacon of hope and all this shit. And I'm like, And I was on board for all of that, and I was super down for it. And at the end, because like Kappa's whole thing is that he doesn't want to be fulfilling these prophecies, he's kind of forced into it.
Mm-hmm.
He has trauma, like bad things have happened.
Yeah.
Not all
Yeah,
prophecies
yeah,
are
yeah,
blah blah
yeah.
blah. And so they like set off together to find a way to break the curse in a different way.
Yeah.
And everything that has happened since then, I have just gradually lost interest because it just keeps getting further and further away from that initial premise. And I understand that in order for a series to continue, it must at some point raise the stakes and evolve it past the initial premise. But when you're someone like me who gets invested because of that initial premise,
Yeah.
it becomes really difficult to want to continue. And that's probably why I've finished very few manga series. I didn't even finish Full Metal Alchemist.
See, this is why I'm so addicted to slice of life. I'm just all like, I don't need raised stakes. I just want the characters I like being put in situations and they overcome them and then they go back to their silly little lives.
Yeah, and I feel like with anime, a big part of it is just the way that the manga and anime industry works.
Yeah. Where it's especially when it comes to shonen, like they're almost pressured to draw out their series for as long as possible and to raise the stakes more and more and more. And I'm just like, and like, yeah, after a while, it's all like,
you get fatigue.
Yeah, and it's why the Fullmetal Alchemist manga doesn't do it for me like it does for so many other people who claim it's like amazing and fantastic. And I'm all like, listen, I love Hiromu Arakawa's work, like artwork, as much as the next person. Like the last few volumes of Fullmetal Alchemist are unrecognizable if you look back at the original first few volumes. Like, what is the plot has entirely changed.
Yeah, and I think that was, again, that's probably a big part of why I prefer the O3 anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Shots fired for that as well, but it was an award-winning fucking anime.
Yeah.
Brotherhood only got made because O3 did that good. Like,
they made so much money on O3.
People shit on O3 so much now, and I'm like, why?
Because it doesn't follow the manga.
And it's the same thing with Soul Eater. Remember the start of this tangent, Soul Eater?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Soul Eater. I'm like, the anime was good. You can prefer the manga, and that's fine, but don't pretend that the anime was bad.
The anime, like, drew together what plots were going on at the time and created a satisfying ending to it.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And it didn't take 100 more chapters to do it.
And yeah, it's all like, yeah, it's not going to be the same ending as the manga because this was before plot points that were introduced like fucking 20 manga volumes in were going on. It's like, yeah, it's going to be a different story.
It's not a bad story, though.
But it's a tighter story.
Yeah, it's like... because you don't have the time to throw in 24 new side characters, and I forget what's prompted this in the first place, which is probably a sign we need to stop the video, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that was chapter 41, and a bunch of semi-related anime rants. Thanks for being here. We're getting close to the end, and I hope you'll stick with us, because at the very, very end, we have some bonus content to get into, and I think that'll be fun. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden.
Bye.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. My deepest gratitude goes out to my supporters, who you'll see on screen here and also in the description. If you'd like, you could become a member of the Rose Garden by supporting me on Patreon, Ko-fi, or by buying my books. And don't forget that for an indie author like me, every like, comment, and subscription is a huge help. Good night, my lovely Rose Garden.